Welcome to my channel AI Basics with AK. Here we are with another new episode in our season 2, which is Introduction to Python Programming. So, so today's episode is multiple inheritance. Earlier it was to get released on 9th of August 2024, and sorry for the delay as I mentioned in my LinkedIn post. Today I am recording it and uploading it again. So episode 17, multiple inheritance. Why waste time? Let's directly jump into our video. So in our today's agenda, since it's been a long time, let's recap what is inheritance and little bit deep dive into our multiple inheritance. It's very simple episode since it's been after a long time I'm recording and there is no demo for this episode. So if you want to recap here, if you can see it here. So here, this is a definition of a class, how we can define a class. How do we define a class? We define a class with a keyword class and its variable. Say for example, you want to define a class car, this is what we say it is a car. And then we define its attributes. And say for example, if you want to play with these attributes, like say for example, you want to change the color, brand, model, whatever it is, you want to play with these attributes, you have to create the methods here. So the methods ideally play with the attributes and change it or else enhance it, etc., kind of a thing. So you think this is our core qualities and your actions affects your qualities and your behavior. That's how it is, right? And every object is different depending upon its attributes, like how humans are different depending upon our attributes. Each and every object is different depending, even though we are belongs to the same class of human beings. So yeah, that's a quick introduction, and this is how you call it by passing on the attributes, and then you can print it, etc. And then if you want to call that method, you can call using that particular object that we create using the object car class here, and then call its method repaint here. And let's go back to the inheritance concept. What is inheritance? Say for example, we have a certain attributes in car class, okay, that we have seen it as color, brand, etc., right? Now these attributes might be constant for all classes, cars, but however, electric car might require a battery and fuel car require a tank to fill in fuel. So broadly, say for example, if you want to define it in an electric car versus a fuel car, so that's how we need to have a two separate child classes which inherits the basic properties from the car class and extends its properties and adding its own new attributes, which is a battery capacity and a tank size. Beautiful, right? So the defining of the child class is very simple. You define in the same way, but however you call in parenthesis its parent class. If you have seen it in our original, here there is no parenthesis here. Directly we are creating a class variable car here. However, while defining a inheritance class, here we are calling that parent class after defining the child class, which is an electrical car. And then the defining the attributes is the same, but however, if we want, since we want to inherit those attributes, so we can just use super here. So super inherits directly from my parent class, and then this is the new attribute that is only applicable for the electrical car, and then there is a method that changes the behavior as per how you charge it. Similarly for the fuel class. So yeah, this is just an output, like I'll just skip this slide at this point of time because let's jump directly into our multiple inheritance episode. Multiple inheritance is same concept. We are extending of inheritance, but however here we are extending the attributes from two different parent classes. So say for example, I have a certain features on my face. I inherit from my parents, that is both from my father and mother, and maybe I also inherit from my grandparents. It is possible, right? So that's how it is. Say for example, we already created a class car, and then we have created two classes, which is electrical car and fuel car. Now we want to add some basic smart system like autopilot and etc, and we want to add it to this, only to this electrical cars and fuel cars. So the syntax is as simple as what we have seen in inheritance. Here we are defining a class because this is not a child class, so we are defining a class smart features, and then we have a separate attributes for it, and there is no methods for it at this point of time. Now we are defining a child class smart electrical car which has two different parent classes, which is electrical car and smart features. And how do we do import the attributes from these parent classes? Earlier we have super, which inherits the attributes from its parent class automatically. Now if we want to inherit specifically from these two classes, we mention it as that particular classes, and then we import those attributes automatically. Similarly, we define the same way for smart fuel car. Beautiful, isn't it? And this is just an example, a methods which describes the car, that it has an autopilot system and etc, and it prints what is its color, brand and model. Got it? So let's quickly see this implementation, and we can complete our episode with this slide. Say for example, Priya has a smart car which is a red Tesla, and it has its model 3, and its battery capacity is 75, autopilot true, and parking system, it has a parking assistant, and it cannot assess the lanes, kind of a thing. Say for example, it cannot assess the lane. Now you describe the car, that's what it describes it, but since what we have written it over there, and then we are repainting it to metallic blue, which is what it tells, and then it again describes the car, that car has an autopilot system. Beautiful, right? So that's it for this episode, and I hope you enjoyed learning multiple inheritance, which is just a quick recap what we have done it for classes, inheritance and multiple inheritance. In our next episodes, we'll go through multi-threading and multiprocessing, which is very important, and how we'll also learn debugging, and we'll have a very good end-to-end project and how we can deploy the projects in various other ways. So long way, right? We have gone through why Python is important. We have discussed Python data types, numbers and booleans, strings, which we have dedicated for 3 episodes, loops and breaks, lists and tables, and further we have a separate episode for list operations, which I find it very useful, and dictionaries, which is must for if you want to learn for pandas, and functions. From list operations, I think everything is very important if you want to build our career in data science. As I look at it, like lambda functions is much more important, and especially the map reduce and filter ones. And object-oriented programming might not be required traditionally if you're just want to use the traditional machine learning. But if we want to create better machine learning programs, especially using TensorFlow or PyTorch, then these classes are very useful, because we can custom create our own neural networks. Beautiful, right? So traditionally, post the episode, we always go for the homework. Let's just directly visit the homework. So here there is not much coding at this point of time. We'll just since we have gone through the basics so far, I would like you to just create a simple table, and what's between the single inheritance, multi-level inheritance, which is which you need to go, and what is multiple inheritance and multipath inheritance. Uh, we have just discussed inheritance and multiple inheritance, but most of them, the concepts is the same, but there is a little bit thin line of difference between all these three. I request you to browse through the websites, ask ChatGPT, whatever you want to do it, but just get familiarity with all these jargons, which is very useful. That's it for today's. See you again in the next week. If you like this video, please give a like and do just share it to others such that I can get more subscribers. Thanks a lot. Have a nice day.